Hi, my name is Easton Lewis, and today I'll be going over video reaction number 3, which is why they do it inside the mind of a white-collar criminal. At the beginning of this video, the narrators discuss and point out how often many think of corporate crime from the victim's perspective and not from the perpetrators. From the victim's perspective, a crime will always be the most traumatic and devastating thing that has happened to them. And they always feel that the perpetrator meant to inflict or harm damage to them. But when discussing corporate crimes and white-collar crimes, this is much different. The speaker goes on to explain that companies often never mean to inflict harm in white-collar crimes and have no emotion tied to it. He goes further on in detail with this, but to sum it up, it basically means that a company has no attachment or no personal relationship with many customers and other stakeholders. So to get away with a crime and to commit a crime is much easier because they have no emotional attachment and have no real reasoning for what they're doing. So he goes on and discuss that a turning point in the white-collar crime prosecution occurred in 1939. He then, after this, goes on to explain that there has been a moral shift when viewing white-collar crimes and is now reviewed psychologically. And this comes from Gary Becker. Gary Becker was a man that argued that crime can be viewed as a rational act by the person who commits the crime. He argued that people behaved in a way that's welfare maximizing as they perceive it. He was the one that introduced the models to predict behavior. The models transfer from being solving things and assuming why these crimes were committed mathematically, and then was later transferred to psychologically. Many regulations have been developed to prevent companies from committing unethical crimes, but like the speaker says, the perpetrator always thinks one step ahead and sees what they get and knows what they can get away with. He goes on to also state that he points out that companies believe that the benefits they receive for committing certain crimes is often higher than their reputation. A lot of times, many people obviously don't commit certain acts or certain crimes because they believe this will ruin their reputation. But being someone within a large business or being viewed as a certain higher up person within a company, they believe that they can get away with a lot of things, and for that, committing this crime will not ruin their reputation. Perpetrators never think when they will commit crimes or do insider trading that will get them caught, and that it would ever be a possible outcome. Many believe that this is just a part of business, and obviously they're striving and keep trying to grow their business, and unfortunately it can get into really sketchy situations and to points where it can be a crime. So many regulators believe shifting this perspective is the key to help curb corporate crimes and making punishment when committing them more accessible. Researchers have also suggested making the punishment greater when caught. It discusses in the video that it's obviously you don't really think of crimes while you're doing them. You don't really think of the punishment when going through it. But if you were to and knew that your punishment was going to be greater than what it usually would be, for example, they gave a situation of a crime being committed and the punishment only being 3 years in jail, and it was raised to 10 years, people would probably think a lot more before committing that crime. The goal is to make leaders of firms to realize that this is not what they should or meant to be doing when committing a crime, for it will be costly to them. It can cost them obviously their job, their reputation, and obviously going further into debt with friends and family. So the speaker also introduces that many executives do not feel remorse after committing these crimes. Like I previously stated, they found it shocking because the crimes these executives committed also hurt and harmed many others. For example, the loss of jobs or a retirement plan. Like I said, just because they don't have a personal relationship with many people, they believe it's not harmful to others, or they don't think about that kind of stuff. So it goes on to state that they're not aware of the pain that they're causing to others. The speakers in the video also discussed that being surrounded by those with similar morals and beliefs could help prevent these white-collar crimes, for it allows a perpetrator to be aware of what they are doing. Perpetrators think that they are actually helping a friend when committing, or company, and even making alpha when committing these crimes. I think that's probably the biggest reason why a lot of white-collar crimes are committed. A lot of executives and a lot of the perpetrators believe that they're making alpha moves or alpha decisions for them or the company, and growing it in many ways, but it's actually hurting them and it's committing crimes. So many only think about the consequences of a crime when they are close and inflicting physical harm, but when they aren't inflicting physical harm, it is easier or not thought of to commit these crimes. Obviously, in the video, they gave the example of, obviously, everyone knows it's wrong to go up and hit someone in the face. And they know that inflicted harm on them and they can get punished for it and sentenced for a very long time. But when it's not causing physical harm and they don't realize and see how harmful it can be to someone, they're not aware of what they're doing and how these white-collar crimes can relate to thousands and millions across the world. So, and a couple things that stood out to me in the video it made me realize was how people act unethically to see what they can get away with since it's technically illegal. A lot of people, and discussed in the class previous chapters and talking about ethics, a lot of people think that just because it may be legal or there's no specific law saying that you can't act a certain way, that it's okay. And I think that's shouldn't be the way it is, because obviously you can do many things out there that aren't technically legal, but can hurt and ruin people in many ways. And then I thought it was interesting when he points out that people commit unethical crimes because they will receive a bigger or better benefit from it. I was just taught at a young age and always grown up on there's never going to be a benefit coming from something if you've hurt someone or have hurt many others by doing it. And then lastly, a case that stood out to me was when the speaker discussed how executives ordered power plants to cut off electricity and powers to homes for the summer, and many lost their lives, and the executives didn't feel guilty because simply they felt like they weren't the ones that went to the homes and cut the power lines and cut the power to people's houses. So I thought that was a case that relates to the video and the chapter, because obviously it shows how these executives feel and what they believe is right when, it affects thousands and many people in the community's life. So that's all I have for video summary number 3. I thought this video was interesting and it made me realize a lot. Thank you.